Welcome back to the Greater You. Today's discussion is about a duality that we see in our coaching, this kind of a yin and yang principle that comes up, and this one's really interesting. So let's take a look at our visual on this. It's a statement today, guys. The statement is this: insecurity leads to ego, which leads to unnecessary suffering. So if you think about this kind of duality or polarity. On one side, you've got insecurity, right? Insecurity is a deep-rooted feeling of lack. Not smart enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, strong enough, thin enough, wealthy enough, something like that that's inside of us. It might come from our childhood or unresolved stuff. It comes from somewhere, right? Maybe decisions we've made, experiences we've had, bad choices, negative choices, consequences that have piled up, whatever it is, or whatever caused us to harbor and buy into that insecurity. We sometimes have that feeling of lack inside of us, some sort of irrational or unhealthy belief that we're just not good enough in some way or another. So then, you know, to exist, to be able to go to work day to day, to be able to get yourself going and not just hide in your bed under your covers all day because this insecurity is just clawing away at your concept of self and well-being, something's got to give, right? So insecurity then can lead to a reaction against it. It's like an ego will form as a protective shell around this rotten center where we feel insecure, right? Like a callus or something. It builds up around this insecurity, and that ego comes out in like hot-temperedness, defensiveness, quick to blame others, um, sarcasm, especially like dark kind of sarcasm that tears others down, comes out in various ugly ways, right? That ultimately lead to greater suffering for ourselves and others, right? Samurai said it best, you cannot harm another without harming yourself, right? It's part of like the Bushido concept. There's truth to that, right? So when we have insecurity in us, and then that ego callus builds up around it, we then can become defensive or surly or hard to be around and show that kind of pain outwardly. We protect our inner pain by outwardly causing pain to others. Well, that's all a bunch of noise, right? That's terrible. Like, we don't want that. Yet, that is the human condition. We all have insecurities, we all have battles with ego. So, how do we get rid of this? That is the question for this video. How do you get rid of these insecurities? How do you remove the ego so these things don't rule us, so these things don't cause us and our loved ones and people around us unnecessary suffering? I think there's a couple of really big answers to this, and some of these would require a very lengthy video. But the one I chose to discuss today is the letting go of a fundamental concept of comparison. So, a lot of those insecurities, notice that it's when I say to myself, I'm not smart enough. Well, that means there's someone that's smarter than me that is smart enough. I'm not handsome enough. Well, then that means there's someone better looking than me that is handsome enough. I'm not strong enough. Then there's the implied comparison, right? When we let go at a deep level of the irrational idea that one human being is better than another, and we recognize that there are no better than or worse than human beings, we're all part of the one race, which is the human race. We stop comparing and we start seeing similarities instead. And when we do that, our insecurities begin to evaporate, and with it, the ego dies. When we see that we're all part of just one human race, we can look at others, and if we observe a difference, we can cheer it on or get curious about it. Oh, you think differently about X, Y, or Z. Tell me more about why you think that way. I would like to learn. Instead of thinking, oh no, that person's smarter than me. I better not talk to him about it because I might look like an oaf, right? So letting go of those hidden comparisons. Each insecurity has some sort of comparative nature to it. When we release that, that hole fills up with the equality of humankind, recognizing that wherever you grow up on this rock, this planet, this blue planet, that, we've all got passions and loves and desires. The basic human desires for love and connection, it's pretty ubiquitous. That's across all cultures and all regions of the planet. All regions, people smile, they laugh when something's funny. They embrace in some form or another when they're showing love or compassion. You start to see the fundamental similarities between human beings instead of tripping up on the things that feel like are different and that we lack. Then there's no place for ego because ego is a protector, right? It's there to defend you against your insecurity. And if you're no longer holding on to insecurity, why would you keep ego around? You don't have anything to prove anymore. One of my favorite books is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And at the end of that book, Siddhartha, that you watch this kid's journey all the way up to him becoming, maybe an older man at the time. He finally lets go of his insecurities and his ego, and he finally arrives at this place where he's just filled with the joy of existence and the joy of connecting to people around him. And a longtime friend that kind of comes in and out of his story sees him and can tell immediately, whoa, you're different, you're changed. It's because Siddhartha had let go of his insecurities, his comparison, and his ego, and began to live in the joy of the moment, which reduced his suffering and reduced the suffering of the people around him. Awesome book. Highly recommend it. So that's it for today. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. We have much more content to bring. I'm going to start introducing some other concepts. I'm going to start doing some article reviews in the world of life coaching and positive psychology and just general psychology, self-help articles that say, hey, these methods. I'm going to start doing some reviews of those coming up. A lot more content to come. And then every once in a while, I'll intersperse one of these little nuggets that we've found at the Greater You through years and years of work, that these things really do improve our well-being when we let go of insecurity, let go of ego, and see the level playing field of the humankind and human race, that we're all together in this. We can start to see the strengths in others and in ourselves. Anyway, take care. We'll talk to you soon. That's it for today's video. Thank you for spending some time with us.